10 for mugging and street crime. It adds an alarming new dimension to the problem, but juvenile crime isn't confined to one area. Last night in Southall, a gang of around 20 youths, most under 15, launched a steaming raid in the High Street, robbing 16 people and injuring some of them. Last week, the Home Secretary, Douglas Hurd, condemned the moral brutishness more than doubled this year, and for the first time, police are picking up children as young as 8. In 1 month, a housewife was accosted and had her purse snatched, the suspect aged 8. A 90-year-old was also a target. Her bag was snatched. This time, the suspect was aged 11. And a gang of children attacked 2 13-year-olds in the street. The suspects were aged between 11 and 15. This is just a small sample of crimes committed by the very young. Police in the borough have arrested 18 children under 10 this year. Their attitude to authority is at best indifferent.
We have had instances where, when they've been arrested and brought into the charge room here at Notting Hill, they have asked straight away.
Flats in Europe. Here, the victims are usually youngsters who come to see the giant graffiti murals spawned by the hip-hop youth culture. They're told to pay taxes. In other words, they're mugged for the clothes they're wearing, expensive trainers or jewellery. In fact, anything that can be sold.
Gold, clothes.
What did your parents say to you about the muggings?
Well, they don't think that was nice to do it. That's how I was brought up. And that I should get a job.
The Home Secretary has firmly placed responsibility with the parents, but those who live in the area can see other causes for crime. There are stark contrasts between the rich moving into North Kensington in increasing numbers and those living in relative poverty a few streets away, a fertile breeding ground for resentment. Police, though, see a direct link between the hip-hop graffiti, for which Notting Hill is renowned, and the sharp rise in street crime.
Young people are led into these areas and then mugged when they get there, and it's quite clear that the people that are doing the muggings, committing the robberies, if you like, are the people that are also responsible for the art. And the suggestion was made that, in fact, it was the robberies that were being used to fund the spray paint and the various materials required for the graffiti.
That policeman who said that doesn't know what he's talking about, because in an area such as this, like Notting Hill and everything, there's a lot of graffiti and there's a lot of street crime. And, like, they think that all the graffiti perpetrated in this area is done by black people. And so they immediately connect the two.
Does it worry all of you that a lot of younger kids now are turning to street crime in this area?
Yeah, I think it does, because I don't think they should. I don't think it reflects as well on those who don't mug.
Because when you're younger, you get influenced easily. So I mean, and when a lot of the older generation that they hang around with, not older generation in general, just the older generation they hang around with, when they're all mugging, and they see that it's a way of making a quick buck, and it's a way of sort of like getting nice clothes and nice trainers, getting gold. It's a lot of like to do with materialism.
For police charged with keeping crime off the streets, their answer was to launch Operation Clean, swamping the area with 50 extra officers and targeting known trouble spots. In 3 weeks, there were 80 arrests and the crime rate fell sharply. But more than half the juveniles they arrest will go on to commit more crimes. The very young, under 10, are an even bigger problem. They're too young to go to court, so do the police think tougher punishments are the answer?
No, because, again, punishment for children under 10 is not something that is generally considered within our country's laws. Punishment is something that's in the hands of the parents. And if they feel that punishment is the appropriate course of action, then the matter is in their hands. Punishment can't be a matter for the police or for the courts for children under 10, in my view.
But the author of this book on juvenile crime, an experienced youth worker, says it isn't fair to place all the onus on parents.
To be a good parent, you need to be given a fair chance. And a lot of the kids come from families where their parents haven't been given a fair chance to be parents. But I think we need to talk about which very young children are getting involved in street crime, because quite clearly it's not the children in Wimbledon, it's not the children in Chislehurst, it's the children a specific part of London at a specific time. And it seems to me the area we're talking about, Notting Hill, has a very problematic history. And it has a history of first of all, high levels of poverty. Young people from a number of different racial origins are lumped together with poor schools, poor resources, appalling job opportunities, particularly
Activities for 5 to 15-year-olds. But what sort of children come here?
I think we tend to get more children.
The knowledge that the university student wears dirtier clothes than they wear. Knowledge that the university student wears dirtier clothes than they wear.
Seeing in increasing numbers. They're bracing themselves for the school summer holidays and the inevitable rise in juvenile crime in known areas like the graffiti park. In the absence of any immediate solution, they'll just have to cope as best they can. Well, now we take a